I hadn't bought new clothes since the divorce because the only person verifying colors for me had been my wife. I could have picked something in my wardrobe that I knew was light blue, but I had a burning desire to stun on Melissa. The kids had told me that she was already seeing someone new. Some guy named Todd. I needed to show her that I was doing just fine without her in my motel. Or at least make this Todd guy look silly in comparison. I went to the mall the day before the funeral to acquire my swag. I checked every luxury clothing store to make sure I was getting the very best pieces and deals I could. The money became immaterial at a certain point because I knew the look on my wife's face when I entered the funeral home would be priceless. Everyone was required to wear at least one light blue article of clothing according to the funeral invitation. I figured I would wear a beige suit that I'd recently had tailored and find a baby blue shirt somewhere in the mall. After hours of digging, I had finally found a shirt that felt good. Because I could never determine aesthetic value in the same way as a lot of people, my approach to clothing choices was a lot more tactile. I care more about the texture of something than the design and color scheme of the thing. If something felt right, then it was right for me. This shirt felt right. It was a smooth broadcloth fabric shirt with the collar style just the way I wanted it. I tried it on in the Macy's dressing room and it accentuated all of my best features while doing its best to hide my growing beer belly. I felt like I hit the jackpot. This was the one. They had several options hanging up on the floor. I was praying that one of them was blue. I searched for anyone that could tell me what color the shirt I was holding was. I was having a really difficult time with this shirt because it was fairly desaturated as well. I found a woman who looked like she wasn't in too big a hurry and asked her what color the shirt was. She didn't hesitate to tell me blue in a sweet southern accent. That's all I needed to hear. Mission accomplished. I felt so good getting ready the morning of the funeral. I got an iron from the front desk and made sure my creases were sharp. I styled my hair in such a way that I could barely tell if I was balding or not. Life was good. I was unstoppable by the time I stepped into the funeral home. I took 2 steps through the door before locating Melissa at the front of the room near the coffin. Someone sitting next to her tapped her on the shoulder and pointed to me. I pretended not to notice as she turned and looked at me, shocked by appearance. I had one. She stared at me for a good minute. I made sure not to let her know I was paying attention and just stood there reveling in it. I didn't know something was wrong until other people started looking at me the same way. After the first couple I thought, wow, I must look good. After the next 5 or so head turns I thought to myself, I must look really good. After about the 10th head turn I realized that I had never looked that good in my life. There was either something wrong with my outfit, or I had something atrocious in my teeth. I checked my teeth on my phone. Clear. I checked my zipper. Clear. I went to the bathroom, but I could not figure out why everyone was staring at me. One of my ex's cousins, Tommy, came into the bathroom while I was doing my wardrobe check. When Tommy saw me he took a moment before asking me out of nowhere why I did it. He asked if it was for attention or to get back at Melissa. I thought he was talking about trying to show everyone up in terms of style, so I was honest and told him that it was both. I told him that if I was being honest, it killed me to see Melissa with another guy so soon, so I had to bring out the big guns. He looked disgusted. He told me that Todd was and always will be 3 times the man I was. Ouch. Tommy stared me down before going into the stall and I left back out into the main area. I was deep in thought contemplating what Tommy meant by that statement, and why he was so upset about me trying to wow Melissa. It seemed like it had gone past the point of protective cousin activity. Just as I had that thought I felt a tap on my shoulder. It was Melissa. She told me I was a sick individual. She broke down into tears and told me that she couldn't believe that I was doing this to her and the family. She told me that this is exactly why she left me. At this point she's making a scene. The whole place is watching her drag me through the mud now. I can't even properly respond because I barely know what she's talking about. There was no way I had succeeded this much in my plan to make her upset. There was something else at play. People started throwing in their own grievances with me when she started crying. My youngest kid started laughing at me getting roasted by the crowd of people that I called family about a year ago. A man comes over and puts his arm around Melissa. He's an absolute specimen. He has on a perfectly tailored suit with what I assume to be a matching blue tie and pocket square combination. His beard edges looked as though they had been trimmed with a laser. He had a head full of luscious dirty blonde locks. As he comforted Melissa under his arm, I realized there was nothing I could do. I was simply outmatched. Todd stares at me down and says, "How could you say you love her and pull something like this?" I tell him that I have no idea what he's talking about. He goes, "Don't play dumb, you knew you were supposed to wear blue." I look down at my shirt and stare at it for a while. I still can't tell what color it is, but something in me snapped when I realized the lady from Macy's had just lied. With no remorse. For no apparent reason this random woman I had approached in a moment of need just lied to my face without hesitation. Everyone was still yelling at me too. I'm pretty sure the consensus opinion was that I should just leave the funeral. I stormed out. When I got back to my car I momentarily considered going back in with my Beretta that I had in the glove compartment. That's how dark this had gotten for me. I then considered using it on myself for having such a twisted intrusive thought. After that chain of events, I decided I just needed help getting my mind back together. I enrolled in therapy the day after that. I've been going steady ever since.